Welcome back to Your Seat at the Table. We are Finding Atoria, and today we're talking about all things TTRPG per usual, except when we get derailed. But today we're talking about White Wolf.
Woohoo!
And it's back.
Well, that's what they say.
So I think we have
Wait a minute. Who are they and what else are they saying? What kind of episode is this?
It's one of ours. Chaotic Neutral, remember?
For you, it's been a week. For us, it's been
15 minutes.
an eternity.
Yes, to both.
I think it will go around the table. By the way, I'm Tori, and I got my homies here.
Hello, this is Arcadia.
Homie number 2, Malcolm.
Homie number 2.
That sounds like the extra at the very end of a homie number 2, Malcolm.
I have my guild card, though. Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
you can eat at the craft
That's
services
right.
table.
It's the fruit plates. Okay.
Yeah, we're talking White Wolf. If people are not aware of the situation,
I'm going to put my hand up because I was not. You brought this kind of to me, and I thought it was something different than it is.
yeah. So, and honestly, as I researched it to get more and more information, it is a little different than I originally thought. So the big announcement in the community for TTRPGs, if you like World of Darkness, if you've been a fan of World of Darkness for a really long time, is that, as Tori stated, quote unquote, White Wolf is back. For those who are unaware, White Wolf is the original creator of the different TTRPGs and video games and everything else, the world that encompasses World of Darkness. And they had sort of been merged, acquired, and buried within other companies over the last handful of decades. Mm-hmm. And the fans were not always happy about that disappearance. And so, pretty excited. A lot of the community is really, really excited for that concept. White Wolf is back. Mm-hmm. I guess that's the big, what are we talking about?
And it's not super new news.
No, it's not. Not breaking.
I thought that it was different than it was. I thought it was a formation of something, and it was a rekindling of old names and bringing back the original. And it's not that, but it's also not nothing.
Right. Yeah. It was very interesting as I dug into this because my immediate response was, oh, wow, really cool. Like,
White Wolf's back.
Here's this company that, didn't have the product anymore, and now they get to take back control of the product. And that is not the case.
Wah, 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 wah.
So the company that has been in charge of World of Darkness is Paradox.
Paradox Interactive, right? It owns the IP, which is World of Darkness.
Right. And Paradox was the sort of, I will say at this point in time, final acquirer of White Wolf before White Wolf sort of became immersed and overrun and dispersed, maybe is the right word.
I think so.
In the Paradox Corporation.
Right.
And what Paradox, if you go to their website, what their announcement says is not sort of that here's this corporate entity that existed that is White Wolf and we are giving ownership of the product back to White Wolf, which is really how I was hearing it talked about in the community.
Right, but there really wasn't a White Wolf to give it back to.
Right. And so rather than that concept, it is the fact that Paradox, as White Wolf's parent company,
It isn't. They own the IP, right?
right, is
The name.
resurrecting White Wolf.
I like the term.
White Wolf became immersed within Paradox. It was a separate entity within the company for a while.
It was absorbed into.
And it was absorbed into in 2018 for, I guess, poor content material choices that were made in 5th edition of Vampire. And so Paradox at that point decided to say, hey, like, this can't be separately run and controlled. We're going to put it into our control. And White Wolf really just sort of disappeared into the company. What they have said is that they are now going to resurrect the name White Wolf, and they are going to brand World of Darkness, which is sort of what has been operating within the company for these games, as White Wolf. They're bringing back the name is really what it seems like. It's the brand.
So it's not, they didn't give it back to the company that originally had it.
There is no more company.
Right. No, but I'm saying it makes it sound because all the headlines were White Wolf's back.
Right, exactly.
White Wolf got it.
It was good marketing. It was really good marketing.
Maybe they'll...
I think that Tori just kicked the elephant in the room, which was headlines.
Yeah.
That's a buzz. That's people are going to talk about on their podcast someday.
And so many people.
Oh, they're going to fix this.
You just read the headline.
They're going to fix this.
Did you hear White Wolf's back?
They're going to fix this.
Right.
They're going to fix it. Yeah.
And this is one of the only points of reference that I had on this topic that you brought to the table today was a 2017 documentary that I have made everyone in my life sit through at least.
It's a good documentary,
and it's of the same name, World of Darkness.
Oh,
and this is I don't.
Tori does not do documentaries.
No, Tori does do documentaries. Tori ain't got time right now.
Yeah, right now.
Right now.
Hey, so right after Wednesday. All right, but it was my point of reference, and it's a great documentary, and I recommend you go out and do it. I'm not going to give all of the IMDb on it. People can search it up. Gave the entire history of the formation of the company going back to '86, and it was a
magazine.
It was a magazine, and they tell the story in the documentary of buying paper, getting permission at school to go make copies of it, and
that's funny.
And
it was the epitome of a small startup doing anything they could to get out there.
It really was, and it took you all the way through that 2006 absorption by CCP when the video game wasn't happening and things were different, and it was so cool to hear as a fan of the original VTM, which they go into the artwork. I could sit here and just blob about the movie. I don't want to. But what was very, very neat to me was that strategic choice by Paradox to rebrand and reignite the White Wolf name, and then to bring World of Darkness and say it's these two together again. If you don't read down a couple paragraphs, that's huge, amazing news that really needs some context.
And I will say, from a business standpoint, it's brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even now, when it's been since 2018 that White Wolf has really just not existed as an entity. And honestly, since 2006, since it was no longer a independent company.
Correct.
That is really big news. It's really big branding because everybody still associates World of Darkness with White Wolf.
So if you're a fan, and I don't want to take us on a long road, but now that we kind of know what it isn't, Tori, are you hyped? Is this big news to you? Is this something that do you have expectations of this?
If all they're doing is resurrecting a name,
but
unless there's caveat, unless they've got some new faces or new players in that, then it is what it is. All you did was bring it back up, right?
Yeah, I thought it was really sort of interesting because I've been on this roller coaster of, oh, very cool. Oh, well, maybe not so cool. Oh, well, that's not so bad.
Yeah. So
when I first heard it, I was so excited. I love VTM. I wouldn't mind checking out some of the other World of Darkness games.
Sure, there's so many.
Haven't played them yet, and was excited to hear World of Darkness was doing White Wolf again, or White Wolf was doing World of Darkness, whichever way you want to say it. Hearing it's a rebranding thing, I slumped way down into rebranding can be a big deal for a company. It can equal a lot of change, but you still have the same company in charge.
But we're gamers, and I think it came down to, so what you gonna give me?
Right, yeah.
That's the... Honestly,
why should it matter?
So
why you want me to buy your shit?
Right. And, a lot of the community is going on and on about all their excitement about new product. Malcolm, you really, really briefly touched on the video game situation. Dig into that a little bit more.
It was an attempt at a time that I believe that White Wolf and whoever was owning it at the time, and I believe it was before the CCP step in, that they saw book sales drop dramatically. It was an absolutely flooded market of VTM manuals, modules, and everything else, and they were trying to jump on the...
They wanted digital content.
They wanted the MMORP, like however, many letters you need to say online video game. And so, like, seriously. I'm just going to try to, it's episode 2.
You're not wrong.
It's not that many more syllables. In fact, we may be ahead on this thing, but
You're not wrong.
Sunk a lot of money into it. It was
14 years, 9 years developing. I mean, it was a lot of time. The community was expecting it.
And it was a lot of what was considered to be broken promises to the community. And the video game felt like, at least in the documentary, maybe one of the anchors that dragged down. It was a money hole. It was something that they were never going to get exactly perfect. And it was still in the early days of making those games where it was super fucking expensive to do one. And
and they wanted to do. It's interesting because we talked about Daggerheart, sort of deciding to do one that wasn't this big, gigantic AAA game, and so they're getting something out there more quickly.
Sure.
And White Wolf, I think CCP, the ownership at the time, decided to go the opposite. They wanted the big, epic, top line game, and they've sold it that way to the community. And then
they had a huge success on a space one right beforehand, and CCP was,
which is, I think, why they did CCP. I think that's why they did that merger. Yeah.
Well, that and Kickity Cash.
Well, yeah.
But, yeah.
Okay, and you guys keep saying CCP. Who is that?
CCP was an Icelandic, I believe.
Yeah, gaming company.
Video game developer who was kind of early in that whole online shared experience.
Okay.
MMO. RP. I just want to make a song out of it. And
Flatsmith Zhuzh will play it.
In Nebraska.
The new hit.
Thank you, Omaha. Good night.
Oh, my gosh. Anyway, yes, so they were kind of the ones that came in after the book sales decline, and there was stagnation at the company for so many reasons. Go watch the documentary. It's so freaking good. That kind of came in with, hey, we've got a plan, we've got the cash, and we've got the technology merged together. Two very young, sort of vibrant, party-based companies got together and then just got lost in production and got lost in direction and just continued to not deliver. So the video game from the documentary standpoint really felt like I'm making a hand gesture and not saying a word. Welcome to podcasting, okay, where you can use your voice. Yeah. Where they it was just in the community kind of
they oversold, they delivered,
exactly.
And the community was so excited about it, and then was so devastated when it got just completely not even like it's delayed, it's done. We're just not going to do it.
And you would start seeing signs of this. First of all, one of the greatest quotes of the documentary was a guy talking about the time in this merger of White Wolf and CCP, and it just almost is toxicity. And he goes, all I remember are just waterfalls of Icelandic vodka. And they were just fegging partying because White Wolf was known as the party company on the West Coast, like they in Atlanta. I mean, that nightlife and that time. And I wanted to ask a question because so much of them building that company in Atlanta in 5 Points, in that nightlife and that gothic horror setting and the clubs and everything else feels very unique to me. And I don't know that you have that time and space is not really recreatable. So I don't know that you have the market for a resurgence of this game in this World of Darkness setting right now. Do you guys think that it's coming back and filling a niche that people want it?
I don't feel like World of Darkness has ever really truly like gone away. I mean, it still has fans. It still I mean, for heaven's sakes, just look at Gen Con.
No doubt about it.
Gigantic. You can tell the size of the company and its popularity by the size of the booths.
Very nice booths.
Very, very nice booths at Gen Con for World
Not
of Darkness.
just a table and some guys.
Right.
And we are big fans of people with tables and guys. But yeah. So no. They've never not been a thing, and you're getting content produced there. Did you tell me that one of the other big things or things that might be of note is that Paradox said that they are going to do in-house content. Like they're building it now.
Yeah. So, how about when we come back? I've got a couple of things.
I'm just over here with like a list of questions. So
I think we've got a good point to take a break, and we've got. We sort of dove into why things went down, and then it's just a rebranding. So my whole like excitement about it went, oh, maybe not. I'd love to, when we come back after the break, let's go back up and say maybe this is actually something worthwhile.
There's a name for this in podcasting where you were just setting up an awesome next segment. Whatever the name of it is, you're doing such a good job.
That's a segue.
We're going to do it.
And speaking of segues, we will be back from the break to discuss this even further.
Thanks for joining us at the table, guys.
This episode of Finding a Tori is brought to you by Wordleaf Media. The Finding a Tori podcast is looking for guests for our upcoming episodes. Are you or someone you know passionate about the TTRPG community and have a story to share? If so, contact us on our socials or reach out at wordleafmedia.com/findingatoria. And now back to your program.
Welcome back to the table. We are continuing our conversation about White Wolf and its re-emergence.
I like that.
Yeah, I do.
With World of Darkness.
So what I was saying earlier was how, we sort of had this excitement, White Wolf is back, and then this, but it's just rebranding. And then I dug a little deeper. And I was back to being at least hopeful. Maybe not quite as excited as original, but at least hopeful.
I'm picturing a chart. Bar.
To me, I keep thinking of it as a roller coaster.
Right, up and down.
And so what I think gives, in my opinion, the community some hope for a resurgence. Maybe something new that is also something to get excited about. Because I think that's been the biggest challenge with World of Darkness things recently, is that people sort of get hopeful and then they're totally let down by what is released. Although I do think that the most recent version, people have come back around to it. Sort of went more back to its roots, and
they realized that a lot of the community did not align with what Requiem brought.
Right.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
We've talked about VTM with them like almost exclusively. Are they moving with mage or werewolf or any of those?
All the World of Darkness games are going to be included in this.
Okay.
Yeah, it is the entire World of Darkness.
Okay.
And they have announced that they are resurrecting the video game.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that's big news. I think that's huge news, because that was and they've done some versions, but that was the big undelivered item.
Cool.
That's what the community wanted. They never got it. They really wanted.
Not the version absolutely.
Not the version they wanted.
They're right.
So I'm going to take us back just a little bit dry, but so people have an understanding of how things have sort of gone. You had White Wolf as a publisher. They did some really amazing things. I didn't even realize as I was researching some of the things they'd done, for example, such as creating the campaign setting of Ravenloft for Dungeons & Dragons. I hear that and I go, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Did not know it. So they were pretty, as an independent company, they were doing pretty well with what they were creating. Right. Then they merged with CCP to try and go down this digital path. Didn't work out so well. That was like 2006. Paradox bought them in 2015.
Okay.
At that point in time, Paradox was an umbrella company, parent company type of thing, right? So White Wolf is still operating on their own. And in 2018, Paradox basically said, no more. White Wolf is now just a part of Paradox. It does not exist as a separate entity. It is Paradox. And World of Darkness is a product of Paradox. In that time frame, one of the things that is interesting is that with the CCP purchase in 2006, they stopped producing in-house content.
They farmed it all out?
They farmed it all out, put their put the name on it to other content creators.
Franchise.
They franchised, right?
Which is what
Which now
WotC's
they didn't
pulling.
have control of the product. I mean, obviously they could choose to put their name on it or not, but they really didn't have all the control of the product.
Right.
2012, they stopped creating TTRPGs. And so,
Hard pause.
these are big changes of where, there was an origin point and they moved really far away from their origin point. That started to come back. 2018 is when you just saw White Wolf disappear. And that was because some of the product that they did produce had, very undesirable content, we'll just say. There was things in the materials that, gave neo-Nazis influence on the Brujah clan, and they made some commentary about some really nasty murders, concentration camp type stuff that happened with LGBTQ people in Chechnya. So like it was very controversial. It was very negative. And that's when Paradox was like, nope, we're done. You are not in charge of yourself anymore.
And it also made sense from a business standpoint that previously profitable and positive White Wolf name was now
associated with the nasty.
Right. Yeah. Your brand recognition was no longer necessarily a positive
and
thing.
as
those
Paradox,
guys.
you have the ability to pull that,
right?
So that is not a client-facing name and property anymore.
Right.
So that very understandable from that standpoint.
Yeah, from a business decision, I get it. So what is different now?
Yeah,
different now is back in 2006, they stopped in-house production.
Okay.
Back in 2012, they stopped creating TTRPGs. In 2025, with this rebranding, they are in-house producing. They are coming back to building games
Making
within,
content.
World of Darkness. And it is the entire branch of World of Darkness. Those are big moves. White Wolf is once again a separate entity under Paradox. That is a huge piece of the branding move, is that it is no longer absorbed by Paradox and just sort of something Paradox does.
It's under the umbrella, but it is its own little piece.
Correct.
I've played way too much Crusader Kings 3 because all I can think of is just
vassal,
just breaking off a chunk of the kingdom, and now you actually do have a name. Where all of this was Paradox before, we are making space for you again.
Right. And so with that comes a little bit more autonomy. You have leadership positions that can make maybe a little bit more decisions and control based on their specific product. They can focus in on their specific product versus, the company and its products as a whole. And so what is really interesting about that, I think all those moves, when I first saw those were things where I was like, okay, like I get it, it's rebranding, but it is more. It is more.
Right.
It's a revitalization of the brand.
Right.
You're bringing it back to the forefront. You are public opinion court off of timeout, hopefully, for previous published sins, and now they feel good about pushing it forward, and apparently putting some money behind doing it.
Right. And so here's my cherry on top, which makes me think, okay, like we have a chance here. If you guys listen to us regularly, you have heard about Crawford and Perkins leaving WotC to go to Daggerheart, and how we thought that was a big deal because, that really
Darrington.
shows Darrington is putting money towards and developing.
There was
and
a
all
third
this.
one that went
There
too.
was. And the big news for the
Eberron
White Wolf,
guys went.
Yeah, the Eberron team went. The big news for White Wolf is that Crawford and Perkins' boss, the VP of Dungeons and Dragons under WotC. I won't know if I'm pronouncing her last name correctly, but it's Jess Lanzillo. And she, like I said, she has worked with WotC for about 8 years. She's been vice president of Dungeons and Dragons since 2024. And she announced in June that she was leaving WotC. And about a month ago, she announced that she would be joining White Wolf. Interestingly enough, going from a vice presidential position to a creative director position, But her announcement is really sort of heartening. She has, she flat out states she has been a fan of World of Darkness since 1991 when it very first started. That a lot of her, her grounding and her focus and she calls it her North Star.
Right.
The World of Darkness in her creative view and how she's performed as a creative designer. It comes a lot from her love of World of Darkness.
Can I throw in another comparative really quick? And it goes back to our previous episodes about in Crawford, Perkins, the whole 9 yards. Both of these forward-focused moves by high echelon people at WotC are towards narrative-focused games.
Yes.
There's your community. Those are your people who know them best going, this is what's next.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's as much as a jump ship, but if you can call your shot in an industry like all the people that we referenced can,
right.
Do it.
They're doing it in places that are in narrative-focused game settings right now. And I think...
And that was something that was brought out when I talk about her like statement about going to White Wolf, and she touches on that narrative focus, bringing that to the game, and not that game doesn't have it, right. That is sort of the epitome of a narrative focus TTRPG. But that is a strong point of why she loves that world and that creative design and everything. So yeah, right there, that
very cool stuff.
To what we talked about, I don't know how many episodes ago about that's the future of tabletop gaming is this narrative focus.
And you see the people that can do anything in the industry going towards it.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess I have to come around to hope.
I will say this is I think that lends just as much as you go back to Darrington and that, but I think it lends gravitas to what they are doing.
Yeah, right. They're investing in it.
This is not going to be an underpaid professional.
Right.
So you are banking on creative ideas from an industry leader and you're paying top dollar to get them to your company. So Paradox is making a very strategic move here.
And I do think it's interesting, when we do those comparisons with Crawford and Perkins and then I'm going to use first name because I don't know how to pronounce her last name, Jess, that their big coup or big shining moment at WotC was the updates to fifth ed
2024.
It's 5.5.
Yeah, that was.
Let's call it what it is.
Right. Yeah. So they that was.
That'd be a great moment to slam down my headphones and go, "What'd you say? It's 2024 rules."
5.5.
So
they nerfed stuff.
They did. So that was their big thing is they got through that most recent release. That was their big deliverable, their big shining deliverable.
Right. It was the
for Dungeons and Dragons.
Everybody put their name on.
Yeah.
And it was kind of their definitive stab at that genre, that property.
Yeah. And now they've moved on to a different adventure,
right.
They've retired their characters over here and they've started new ones.
Hung up the level 20s.
Right.
Went from Thaco to these.
That's Zaggerheart. What
explanation in the show notes.
Right.
What are your thoughts on this whole?
I'm hopeful. I really believe, and this is going to be a contrary opinion to everything that we're saying, is that I don't know that it, for me, will ever be the same as it was, because I think that when World of Darkness came together, when Vampire the Masquerade came out, it was a time and a place where that game meant something different. I know that just sounded like the old fogey, but it was aligned to culture in a way that I don't think you could replicate right now. I know that there are still a lot of people that really enjoy the scene, the gothic horror imagery, but the imagery, like if you don't have Tim Bradstreet illustrate your fucking book, I don't know what to tell you. It's not going to be the same.
So instead of Dungeons and Dragons for old dudes, it's going to be VTM for old dudes.
I will start. Me and my walker will get out there, and we will have our. But I just don't think that you can. The other thing you can't recreate is the newness.
Yes.
Oh, sure.
That such a strong antithesis of what we were used to with second edition D&D at the time, and it was not going to be the heroic ride-in, and it was just
right.
And that's why I go back to that documentary, because they talked about where they were living and the culture that was going on that informed the game. They were at these clubs and these parties every night, immersed in this culture, and it fed the game, and it was so organic that I just don't know that you can recreate it. And maybe they don't need to. I just think that they need to get back into that world and start publishing more content. For me, always say it, more is better. Mm-hmm. And even if it's not what it once was, don't try to make it that. So I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm interested to see what they do. I'm a fan of the World of Darkness, specifically VTM. I don't know where they'll go with it because it's such a broad property. But yeah, I guess it's exciting.
I like the idea of, like you said, more content. Mm-hmm. I like the idea of broadening the world, especially because World of Darkness operates within our world. Mm-hmm. And so much of the history of the clans and all of this is taking
tied
true human history and then like showing a backside of it that the humans don't know or haven't seen, you know? And so they use real historical events. They use all of this stuff. And if we don't continue producing content, that just ends in the 90s.
Sure.
You know, like it's 2025.
Ooh, they could do some serious good stuff in between.
You know, I mean, so that part of it, I want to see the content that they take from 2025. Sure. You know,
I'm not moderating this episode.
I know I am, and I had to stop. I stopped myself.
Guys,
okay,
this is Malcolm.
Because let's be real, we could right now, just with what's going through our head, we could homebrew some world content there. That would be fucking amazing.
I'm gonna hover over the buttons.
Thin bloods, all of them. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna look at everybody lovingly.
No.
We're a weekly TTRPG podcast.
We're talking about a TTRPG.
Just the shades of red have gone up. So no, I think you're right. I think that it was a contemporary-esque world setting.
Yeah.
So move it forward.
Time, it would be very, very cool to update that and just to see what they do with the property. It's another chance for what was such an amazing studio, what was such an amazing team of creators. Once it's another shot at it to do great shit again.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And honestly, I would love to see, and I know people can do this and everything, but I would love to see maybe a little more intermingling of the world's.
Oh, because they've got the separate games,
right? Maybe. And I've heard people do it. I've heard talk of it in the community and stuff like that. But maybe I just haven't explored that enough. Maybe it's out there a lot more than I think. But I would love to see, this all exists in the same world,
right?
So
I don't know that they didn't make a stab at that or have a version where you could
take off huge.
But there were people that played in Tori, you know more about this than me.
I think Werewolf split off.
Yes.
And gained a lot of a following.
Werewolf was might have been the first one that split off from Vampire.
I think you're right.
And then Mage went after.
Right.
I don't know what else there is.
I feel like it was like a CW superhero crossover game.
I was going to say, actually, what's in my head is Shadowhunters.
But I think Werewolf was the second one that split off. But
because I would love to watch Magnus Bane.
If you look, werewolves, werewolves were already mentioned in vampire, and people were like, ooh, we could be werewolves. And they
right.
went, all right, guys, here you go. Here's your own setting.
Because how do you have a vampire without werewolves?
If I'm wrong, but they got a really strong following where
They
people
did.
Yes.
as
It's
big
big.
of a property.
People were like,
Correct.
let's do that.
And then Mage kind of took it to that different supernatural level. And let me ask you this, because I did not F with either of the other two very well. Did they stick to that narrative format the same way, or did you get to different mechanics?
Werewolf did. They obviously had to change the mechanics, but I think they're pretty close.
Still with the narrative
because
focus there. Okay.
of the way that you would have to deal with it. Mage is broken. It apparently has the potential to be a really good game, but with the one thing that I was reading about when they were like, White Wolf's back, they were like, they can fix Mage now.
I saw that a lot. Yeah.
And that was just another one of those.
Sorry, I was yelling in the mic.
Community promise expectations that weren't met by a brand that, like you said, because of some of the content that was out of house that was published with their name on it, fault being everywhere and nowhere, really kind of became a toxic name for a while. And now you're bringing that back, and you're bringing in somebody, and I'm sure that there's other people on this team that are amazing. We're focusing on yet another WotC
bigwig,
higher echelon
playing
individual
with the big boys.
Going to a company. It just kind of feels like they're trying to do it the right way. And if you've got a property that you can do that, if you're Paradox and you are an umbrella parent organization, you need to look at the value in the stock and the potential of the properties you own. They felt like it was time to put this back in front of people.
Yep. I think,
Very cool.
Yeah, I think this will probably come up again. I guarantee it, because Vampire is one of our games.
Watch the documentary.
Yeah, watch the documentary.
It's kind of cool.
For less than a cup of coffee. And
You too can support
Sarah McLachlan song.
What we should do is set up some sort
In the arms of the Malcolm.
Sometimes I just really want you to subscribe. It was the most shameless. Like I went to hit post and I was
dying when I
yep,
read it. I was dying.
All the way in.
We are on all the socials. We're on Patreon. Patreon, you get the episodes early. Our members get the episodes early. You also get extras, including lore of our own world, Atoria. Also,
we need to spend some time digging into Atoria.
We do.
Do you know how many episodes that statement is made?
I know, and we keep like,
Seriously.
Atoria, look on Patreon.
And then about a week later, we're like, hey, we need to have some show ideas. And nobody in their whispers Atoria. Nobody does. And then as soon as we're back on mic, we're like, you know what, guys? I've kind of had it with this whole not talking about Atoria.
But Patreon also has audio extras.
Listen to us be even more idiots.
I just had a great
on
idea where you could watch us watching the World of Darkness documentary. Be a live stream.
Because that would be fun.
No, it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be ironic. We'll like randomly leave the room.
We'll just pull it up on live on our Facebook page.
Pick up the phone that's recording it from time to time and like play a game and then set it back down like you don't know that it's happening.
Okay, let's get back to the outro.
Thank you guys for listening and for joining us at the table.
Also, you can find us at wordleafmedia.com/findingatoria.
We got it.
Yes. We're also on all the podcatchers and on social media.
We're also super supportive of everybody's ideas.
Yes, we are.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good one, guys, and we'll see you next week at the table.
Bye.